Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly pull themselves out of life's darkest moments while others remain trapped in negativity for years? What if the secret to transforming your mental state isn't found in external circumstances, but in understanding the invisible frequencies that govern our emotional world? And what would happen if you discovered that every person who triggers you, even complete strangers, holds the exact key to your most important life lessons? When you find yourself caught in a negative spiral, having someone who truly sees what's happening within you can make all the difference. I'm not talking about surface-level observation, but that rare kind of perception that penetrates beyond your words and behaviors to recognize the underlying state of your mind. This connection becomes especially powerful when that person operates from a different mental frequency than the one currently trapping you. Think of it as energy fields interacting. Someone vibrating at a higher frequency has the capacity to elevate someone stuck in a lower frequency. This is why surrounding yourself with the right people becomes so crucial during difficult times. The friends, family members, or mentors who can genuinely help pull you out of negativity aren't those who join you in complaining or reinforcing negative patterns. Rather, they're the ones who maintain their own positive energy field regardless of your current state. Of course, finding such people isn't always easy. Sometimes, you might find yourself in situations where you need to become your own lifeline. This self-rescue mission requires tremendous effort, building yourself up step by step. Even when progress feels painfully slow, there's no shortcut through this process. Whether you're battling depression, anxiety, or simply a persistent negative mindset, the journey back to wholeness demands consistent effort and patience with yourself. You essentially have two paths forward: the challenging route of finding effective methods that align with your personal circumstances and committing fully to them, or the slightly easier path of leaning on supportive relationships that can sustain you until you develop your own inner strength. Ideally, you'll create a combination of both: personal effort supported by a nurturing community. But here's the deeper question worth exploring: why are you experiencing negativity in the first place? Rather than treating only the symptoms, consider investigating the root causes. Look back at the past weeks, months, or even years of your life. Who have you spent most of your time with? What activities have dominated your days? What information have you been consuming? What fault patterns have you been reinforcing? This reflection isn't about self-blame, but about recognizing the principle of cause and effect that governs our lives. Just as an apple seed inevitably produces an apple tree, not an orange tree, certain inputs in your life will predictably generate certain outputs. The negativity you're experiencing now is the effect. What were the causes that created it? By identifying these causal factors, you gain valuable insights into where adjustments need to begin. Perhaps you need to distance yourself from certain relationships that consistently drain your energy. Maybe you need to establish healthier boundaries with social media or news consumption. Or perhaps you need to introduce new daily practices that counterbalance negative influences you can't immediately remove from your life. The person you are in this moment represents the accumulated results of all your past choices. experiences, and influences. Every action, every thought pattern you've reinforced, every relationship you've nurtured has contributed to shaping your current reality. Similarly, who you'll become in the future depends entirely on the choices you make from this moment forward. This realization is both sobering and empowering. You cannot change your past, but you have tremendous influence over your future trajectory. At the same time, wisdom comes from recognizing that some aspects of life remain beyond our control. This is where trust becomes essential. Trust in the underlying goodness of existence itself. Each person you encounter, each challenge you face, may be presenting itself precisely because it contains a lesson you need to learn. Perhaps what others possess, you haven't yet developed. Perhaps what triggers you most intensely points directly to your next area of growth. This perspective transforms everyday interactions into opportunities for evolution. The exchange of energies, ideas, and experiences between people serves the ultimate purpose of bringing out each person's highest potential. When you approach life with this understanding, even difficult encounters take on new meaning. The quality of your experience depends significantly on how fully you engage your heart in your activities. When you approach your work, relationships, or creative pursuits with genuine heart connection, the chances of finding fulfillment increase dramatically. You're no longer searching for something external to complete you because the very act of heart-centered engagement creates its own fulfillment. Conversely, when you make choices based purely on rational calculations without heart involvement, you may achieve functional success but miss the deeper satisfaction you're seeking. Your life becomes the series of accomplishments without genuine joy, activities without real meaning. The invitation here is to regularly check in with yourself. What is the underlying feeling in my average day? Am I moving through my responsibilities with mechanical efficiency, or am I bringing my full heart presence to what matters most? Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of personal growth is recognizing that every human being can become your teacher, especially those who trigger emotional reactions within you. When a complete stranger on the street, a random email, or an unexpected phone call activates something uncomfortable inside you, it reveals a profound truth. In that moment, that external stimulus has more power over your internal state than you do. This realization, rather than being discouraging, offers a perfect opportunity for self-discovery. What exactly got triggered? Why does this particular interaction affect you so strongly? What unresolved pattern or belief might be surfacing for examination? These moments of triggering become your greatest teachers precisely because they illuminate aspects of yourself that remain unconscious or unhealed. In fact, if you find yourself experiencing extended periods where nothing challenges or triggers you, where everything feels comfortable and smooth, it might actually signal stagnation rather than success. Continuous growth requires encountering new challenges that push you beyond your current capabilities. When you're too comfortable for too long, it often means you're simply repeating familiar patterns within your established comfort zone rather than expanding into new territory. The most significant breakthroughs typically happen at the edges of your comfort zone, where you bump against limitations and are forced to develop new capacities. This is why maintaining a realistically optimistic outlook serves you better than either blind positivity or persistent pessimism. You acknowledge challenges realistically while maintaining faith in your ability to overcome them and grow through the process. When contemplating the bigger questions of existence, what happens after this lifetime, whether humans are fundamentally good or evil, we might find insight in nature's continuous cycles of transformation. Just as a cloud doesn't simply disappear but transforms into rain, which nourishes plants that produce fruits, perhaps our essence undergoes similar transformations rather than simply ceasing to exist. Our physical appearance, our DNA, carries information from countless generations before us, ancestors we never personally met, but whose legacy lives on in our features and perhaps in less tangible aspects of our being. This connection to something larger than our individual existence suggests that what makes us truly human extends beyond just having a body. It encompasses mind, soul, spirit, an essence that may have origins and continuity beyond our current understanding. This essence, whatever we choose to call it, likely influences whether we tend toward constructive or destructive behaviors. Yet regardless of what tendencies we might be born with, developing conscious control over our drives and impulses represents a fundamental aspect of human potential. Nothing should have the power to drive your behavior if you don't consciously choose it, whether it's an addiction, a relationship, or even a positive passion. True empowerment comes from bringing your actions under conscious direction rather than being at the mercy of unconscious drives. This is precisely why disciplines across cultures emphasize training the mind and developing self-mastery. The goal isn't suppression of natural impulses, but rather gaining the ability to channel them constructively according to your highest values and intentions. When you find yourself driven by forces that feel beyond your control, rather than judging yourself harshly, consider that these challenges might be highlighting exactly where your greatest potential for breakthrough exists. These apparent weaknesses point directly to the areas where transformative growth awaits you. Life becomes most interesting when we release rigid planning and open ourselves to the unknown. After decades of carefully orchestrating every aspect of existence, setting goals, creating detailed plans, trying to impose our vision on the world, there comes a point where balance requires a different approach. Perhaps true wisdom lies in learning when to act decisively and when to wait receptively, allowing life's natural energy to reveal the next steps. As we explore these profound questions about consciousness, growth, and human potential, we begin to recognize that our journey isn't simply about accumulating achievements or avoiding discomfort. It's about developing the awareness to navigate life's frequencies with increasing skill and authenticity. In the next segment, we'll examine how this understanding can transform our relationship with external circumstances and help us cultivate genuine inner fulfillment regardless of what's happening around us. Harnessing the power of energy and intention. As we've explored how our mental frequencies shape our reality, let's now dive deeper into understanding the fundamental creative force that transforms our thoughts into tangible experiences. This invisible but powerful energy is the bridge between our inner world and outer manifestations. Have you ever wondered why certain patterns keep appearing in your life? It all begins with understanding how energy operates. Everything that takes physical form in our world, every object, every circumstance, every relationship, is essentially condensed, locked energy. This energy doesn't randomly organize itself. It follows specific patterns determined by where we place our attention and intention. Energy naturally flows toward and concentrates around our most persistent thoughts. Whatever occupies your mind repeatedly becomes the magnet that draws this creative force. Your continuous focus in a particular direction serves as nourishment for this energy, gradually building momentum until it reaches a critical mass. This explains why things sometimes seem to suddenly manifest in your life. They're actually the result of accumulated thought energy that has been condensing over time until it becomes visible in physical form. This understanding reveals the extraordinary creative capacity of the human mind. Before anything is built or created in the physical world, someone first had to envision it mentally. The skyscrapers defining city skylines, the devices connecting us across continents, even the chair you're sitting on, all began as mental images before becoming tangible realities. Our thoughts truly are the blueprints for our experiences. The question then becomes, how will you use this remarkable creative power? Will you direct it towards serving humanity and creating positive change? Or will you allow it to generate scenarios of threat, conflict, and limitation? The choice is entirely yours. But recognizing this responsibility is the first step toward conscious creation rather than unconscious reaction. Speaking of recognition, I want to congratulate you on achieving something truly significant: self-awareness. The ability to observe your own patterns objectively represents a crucial milestone in personal development. Many people go through their entire lives without ever developing this capacity for self-reflection. Without knowing where a problem is located, how can anyone possibly fix it? What you've identified in yourself appears to be a habitual pattern, an action or thought sequence that repeats automatically. These habits don't form randomly. They develop through conditioning. The critical question becomes, what or who has been conditioning you? Is it your workplace environment, your social circle, the media you consume, the societal expectations you've internalized? Identifying the source of your conditioning provides the foundation for transforming unwanted habits. We humans are fundamentally habitual beings. What we do repeatedly shapes who we become. This principle works both ways. It explains how we develop limitations, but it also reveals how we can transcend them. If you want to cultivate a healthier lifestyle, for instance, you need to engage in healthy activities consistently until they become your new normal. If you're trying to break the habit of excessive screen time, you must consciously reduce those behaviors while simultaneously increasing alternative activities that better serve your well-being. The formula is straightforward: minimize what doesn't serve you and maximize what does. Of course, implementing this formula isn't always easy. Sometimes our conditioning runs so deep that breaking free requires additional support. This is precisely why retreat centers, workshops, seminars, and support groups exist. They provide structured environments where transformation becomes more accessible through community reinforcement and expert guidance. There's no shame in seeking such support when self-directed change proves challenging. One of the most profound fears I've encountered in my own journey is the possibility of reaching old age only to look back with the painful realization that I've wasted my precious lifetime. Imagine sitting there in your final years, suddenly seeing with perfect clarity all the opportunities you missed, all the potential you never explored, all the authentic experiences you sacrificed for meaningless distractions. This prospective regret has become a powerful motivator for me to live more intentionally. To minimize the risk of such future regrets, I've become extremely conscious about where and how I invest my energy. Each day presents limited hours and finite attention. How we allocate these resources ultimately determines the quality and impact of our lives. This doesn't mean obsessing over productivity or achievement. Rather, it means ensuring alignment between your deepest values and how you actually spend your days. Of course, commitment to any meaningful direction requires sacrifice. You simply cannot pursue everything simultaneously with equal dedication. Choosing one path often means temporarily or permanently setting aside other possibilities. This reality requires discernment about what truly matters most to you at different stages of your journey. Remember too that nothing remains static. The universe evolves. Ideas transform, preferences shift, and you yourself are constantly changing. What served your growth yesterday may not be what you need tomorrow. Staying attuned to these natural evolutions prevents becoming rigidly attached to outdated versions of yourself or your path. The emergence of your highest potential, what some traditions might call your inner master, doesn't happen automatically. No external authority can do this work for you. With consistent effort and appropriate methods, this master within gradually reveals itself through your choices, your presence, and your impact. This is the essence of self-mastery. Taking full responsibility for your own development rather than outsourcing it to others or to circumstances. One powerful practice for cultivating this mastery is full presence. Since entering this conversation, my attention has been completely here, not wandering to future plans or past events. What matters is this exchange happening right now, this connection we're creating in this moment. People instinctively sense when you're truly with them versus when your attention is fragmented. This quality of presence is both a gift to others and a form of respect that acknowledges the finite nature of our time together. Why would you physically occupy a space while mentally being elsewhere? If you find yourself consistently drifting away from certain environments or relationships, perhaps that's valuable feedback about where adjustments are needed. Either bring your full presence to what you're doing, or reconsider whether that activity deserves your participation at all. This concept of being here now isn't just spiritual philosophy. It represents practical alignment between your different aspects. Many people experience internal fragmentation, thinking one thing, saying another, and doing something else entirely. How can the creative forces of the universe respond coherently to such contradictory signals? When your thoughts, words, and actions align in harmony, you become a clear channel for manifestation. Your intentions transmit without static or interference, allowing life to respond with remarkable precision. This alignment can only be achieved in the present moment. The past exists only in memory, the future only in imagination, but your power to adjust, to realign, to choose differently exists exclusively in the now. If there's something in your life that needs changing, if there's a pattern you wish to transform, if there's a dream waiting to be activated, the only moment where that shift can begin is right here, right now. By understanding these principles of energy, intention, and presence, you gain access to extraordinary creative potential. Your thoughts are not merely passive responses to your environment. They are active ingredients in shaping what that environment becomes. Your attention is not just a spotlight illuminating what already exists. It's a magnetic force drawing new possibilities into form. If you found value in these insights about harnessing your creative power through aligned intention, please hit the subscribe button to join our growing community. Each week, we explore practical wisdom for living with greater awareness, purpose, and fulfillment. Your journey towards self-mastery matters, and we're honored to be part of it. Remember, the power to transform your experience begins with where you place your attention right now. Subscribe today, and let's continue this exploration together.